Instruction, golf news, equipment, travel, interviews, course profiles, and more. Your weekly fix of all things golf is about to begin. It's the Flagstick Podcast with your hosts, Jeff Potter and Scott McLeod. Well, here we go, golfers. Another episode of the Flagstick Podcast, episode 80. On our way to many episodes, but 100 would be nice. But let's get through episode 80, sponsored this week by TaylorMade Golf. Every driver has an inertia number, and the higher the inertia number, the more forgiving the driver will be. And now golf is about to discover the first ever driver that combines TaylorMade speed with the forgiveness of 10K inertia. The all-new QI10, more forgiveness means longer, straighter drives, even on off-center strikes. The days of missing the fairway are numbered. Get ready to experience your drives in 10K with the all-new QI10, only from TaylorMade. To learn more, visit TaylorMadeGolf.ca. Social media, make sure you're following us across all social media networks, Instagram, X, TikTok, Facebook. Please subscribe on Spotify, Audible, and Apple Podcast, and we do encourage you to hit up that YouTube channel, like us, and click the notification bell to make sure you never miss a single episode. I know I say it every single episode, but you got to do it because we're not lazy people, and stuff goes up there on a pretty regular basis, and we keep doing new stuff, and we little hint, there's some cool stuff coming once the weather warms up a little bit and we can get out and film it.
Yes.
And if anybody's been paying any attention to social media, you notice that Castleview Golf Course has just modified their tee line on their driving range on their hitting mat area to have like an artificial turf surface instead of the gravel around the mats. Looks really, really clean, really, really crisp. Looking forward to some warmer weather. Let's just put it to you that
way. Quick addition too, I just found out from a couple listeners, and I forgot about this. We're on Apple Music or Amazon Music as well. So if people want to check us out on Amazon Music, they can.
You just added that to the end of the script, didn't you?
Like I did
just now. You just added it to the bottom. So when I go to read it, he's gonna the anticipation. The anticipation is going to have, as we're doing the podcast, Scott's rapidly typing in the script that's on my screen, and it's going to have Amazon Music added to the bottom when we leave the show. I guarantee. If it's not there, I don't read it. I'm like Ron Burgundy. If it's not on the teleprompter, I'm not reading it.
I could put anything on there.
And I'll read it. I'll read it. So stay classy, San Diego.
Yeah.
All right. We got a good show. Yeah, we got a pretty big show here. I mean, aside from all the news and stuff, we're going to get you caught up. You know, we'll get you caught up on what's been happening. Some cool stuff's been happening, but some stuff you already know. But in the back nine, or maybe even early in the front nine, you know, we're going to get into the mailbag. We're going to get into some Q&A. We put out there to ask us some questions, post your questions on social or whatever, and we'd get through as many of them as we could on the show. Well, we got a bunch.
Yeah, we did.
And so we decided we'd just basically make that the show.
Yeah, definitely.
So we'll bring you up to speed, obviously, on some stuff because we don't want to leave you hanging on the week, but we want to get into the Q&As, the mailbag, as quickly as possible. So without further ado, let's get to the front nine presented by Metcalf Golf Club. A natural setting, a pleasant challenge. Golf season's here. Don't wait. Prepare for the upcoming season or the season that's here. Get on the wait list for memberships and leagues and purchase your game passes. To start the season, save compared to regular green fees. Visit metcalfgolf.com and shop for those passes now. Trust me, it's a big savings, so you're going to want to do that.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get on this front nine. Let's get you caught up. The Golf Queen and King. This is insane. Like, this is okay. So we're gonna touch on this a little bit and not just blow through it. But man, this is ridiculous. What's going on right now? I haven't seen this kind of dominance in golf since I don't even know when. I mean, I guess Lydia Ko dominated for a while in the LPGA. Siri Pack dominated. Well, I guess nobody's dominated like this maybe since Lorena Ochoa or Annika Sorenstam did. Like, this is insane domination. Like, to win, Nelly Korda just won her 5th tournament in a row.
And a major at that.
5 in a row.
Yeah.
Like this is a very diverse, as far as the talent pool on the LPGA tour. This is not like
It's
there's
not
some
easy.
really solid. I mean, let's not forget Brooke Henderson finished T3 and had a great tournament.
Yeah. I mean,
Sorry, that's an also ran.
yeah, yeah.
You know.
I think the neat part about this right now and why it's created such momentum is just the fact that we've got the parallel happening on the
Hmm.
LPGA and the PGA Tour, and I think that brings the higher level of interest to it, where people are comparing it, going back and forth. The one thing I thought was interesting though was there was a few people talking about Korda's run, and they were talking about, oh, this is great for women's golf. I'm like, no, this is great for golf.
Oh, 100%. This is
I hate people characterizing one way or the other. I mean, it's good for golf. We're not saying Scheffler winning the streak that he is on 4 or 5 is good for men's golf. It's just good for golf. So
yes,
let's just
yeah.
leave it at that. But yeah, fun to follow. She withdrew this week, so she's not playing in Los Angeles. So, but that's fine. She had a gap in there. It's not like she won 5 weeks in a row or whatever, but she won her 5 consecutive starts.
Hmm.
Just great to see, and obviously how she did it at the Chevron. You knew when she came out there that final day that Brooke and everyone else was going to have their hands full, and unfortunate for Brooke, finishing third at a major. It is her eighth top 5 in a major. I should say that. So she was seeking her third major. She still did pick up 420 some odd thousand. And if you pop over to flagstick.com, you'll see you've got a story up there today about her leap in the Rolex rankings. So
Hmm.
behind Korda, the rankings were really, really tight. And as a result of it, it just needed a player to kind of break out, especially in a major. And because of that, Brooke jumped from 12th up to 5th. And it's been a while since she's been at that high in the rankings. But yeah, just overall, it's been fun to watch as far as Korda and Scheffler. It's just incredible. And, I think it keeps people glued and wanting to watch further events as well.
Well, here's the thing. Like, let's look. I understand what you're saying, that what's going on with Korda and what's going on with Scheffler, but we'll talk about Korda just for a second. Is good for golf.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. It's not bad for women's golf. I guess
Oh, no,
that's the
no, I'm
thing.
not
It's like
saying that.
the whole
Not at
Caitlin
all.
Clark thing in the
Oh, yeah.
NBA and the NCAA, and
NCAA. Yeah.
what she did this year in NCAA basketball was incredibly good for the women's game of basketball. It put a ton of eyeballs on the
Mm-hmm.
WNBA, especially the draft, making it the highest viewed
Sure.
WNBA draft in history. What it's going to do for the WNBA going forward into their season is immense.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think what Nelly Korda is doing is putting a lot more eyeballs on what's going on in the LPGA. But
You're right.
overall, when we look at what happens on each of the tours, what
Mm-hmm.
happens on the LPGA is more eyeballs are on the LPGA, which means there's more eyeballs on golf,
Right.
which in turn gets more people interested in playing. It was the Tiger effect back in the day. Call
Yep.
this the Korda effect right now. Young
Mm-hmm.
girls, same with Brooke when she come up and she was winning. Young girls watch Brooke, they're watching Korda, they're wanting to, I want to be like that. That's more people involved in golf. So that's how it's good for golf, is that the more eyeballs that are on the game, the more people become interested in playing, and those that are playing might play more. So that's why what's going on with Korda is good for golf as a whole. But we don't want to discount the fact that what it is good for the eyeballs on the women's game, which I already think is an extraordinary. It's very different when you're talking about women's sports, when you're talking about golf versus basketball or hockey. It's a different situation with women's golf than with some of the other sports. I'm watching women's golf all the time
Mm-hmm.
because this is like, I think there's a
Yeah.
lot of, there's a
I,
lot
I
of extremely talented women golfers out on
Yeah,
the
and
tour right
I
now.
think what the main spotlight does is it shines light on other players, and it helps sort
Hmm.
of, we'll call it character development. If somebody goes and watches a movie and they really love that movie or a show, and they see the other actors there, they start to get to know the other actors and stuff as
Yeah.
well. So
Yeah.
in this case, it's the same. The more that you pay attention to the leading role, the more that you play, you're paying attention to the others as well. And
Exactly.
it wasn't that long ago when Nelly was a supporting character herself. You got to remember that with this win, this is her 13th win in her second major. That just ties her with Brooke, but she just happens to have won 5 in a
Which
row
is
as far as
huge. Yeah. I
starts.
mean, and then, the flip side of that, obviously, what Scheffler is doing. I saw a meme on social media yesterday where Tom Holland was Tom Holland, or no, it was one of the Spider-Men,
Okay.
one of the Peter Parkers. He
Yeah.
had his glasses off, and the picture beside him
Oh
was a
yeah,
picture of
yeah.
Tiger all
I
blurry.
saw that.
And
Yeah, I saw
then
that.
the picture underneath, he had his glasses on, and it was a picture of Scheffler all in
Yeah,
clear. So it
yeah.
was very, and I've kind of joked about that with some people, saying, this is exactly like he's doing Tiger things, but they're
Hmm.
Scheffler things. But
Sure,
when you
exactly.
compare Tiger's dominance in his era, this is the way things were. He would chip in from places that you couldn't think you could chip in for. He would shoot under par when he was not feeling well. When he had I think Scheffler had himself all
Yeah,
taped up there the one round, and still went out and shot 68 or whatever. Like, he's doing things that are, and his demeanor, his his presence on the golf course. He is so chill.
yeah,
Like, it's an unflappable character on the golf course. It doesn't matter what's going on around him
yeah,
or in his world. He's on the golf course and he's getting it done. And then what makes Scottie Scheffler so awesome is that when he's done, he's done.
yeah,
I'm going home. I'm going home to work on my yard, kind of thing. I mean,
yeah.
those are things you never heard Tiger say.
No,
I mean, it's Tiger had a million other commitments. So when Tiger was done golfing, he had a photo shoot to do. He had this to do. Scheffler was like, just won the Masters. This is awesome. This is great. Another green jacket. I got to go home and do some gardening. Like,
yeah,
that's
and go
just,
hang out with the guys from Dude Perfect, which is what he did.
yeah.
So,
So, I mean,
and
this
now the only
is,
thing is, he's gonna, his position at number one, the way it is, he'll have to do it for 11 more years to tie
well,
Tiger.
I know. I mean, yeah, which is not going to happen,
No, this is just a short burst, but hey, it's
but it's
fun to
great.
follow both of them, and yeah, it's fun to see.
All right.
So
All right. We're,
more to
we're,
come.
we're going to move away from that.
Yeah.
Another Canadian winner on a tour. Matt Anderson became the first Canadian to win on the new PGA Tour Americas with a minus 16 performance in the recent
And
tournament in Brazil. So, I mean, this is
yeah,
just another example of a Canadian golf professional or a Canadian golfer doing something extraordinary on another tour. I'm sure it won't be long before we see Matt Anderson,
moving on
getting
up.
some starts in the PGA Tour. And Sophia Bourgault
Yep.
wins again on
Hmm.
the Florida State Golf Association Junior Tour. She's from Gatineau, member of Royal Ottawa. She shoots 68-66 for the win. It was a bogey free in the final round too.
Yeah,
Just
another great play by her. Lots of other good play this week as well by a number of top amateurs. Was following, if people follow us on X, we had a lot of the conference championships going on. So in the NCAA, there's some great finishes, but particularly Monet Chun, who plays at Michigan, Victoria Liu, who's at Princeton, and then Michael Crisolago and Dana Smith, who are both at SFU, all won their individual titles at their NCAA college conference championships. That's the second title for Chun and for Liu. So impressive for there. Liu won the Ivy League title, and great stuff. And Simon Fraser as well won the women's title at that Great Northwest Athletic Conference Championship. So congratulations to all them, and also to all the seniors who are kind of done their careers now as well. Haley Yerxa from Ottawa, for an example, just finished 6 years at Georgia Southern. So congratulations to her on a successful career. A few other ones that are coming along here as well. So
all
there we
right.
go.
Interesting poll, Scott. Interesting poll you
Yes.
put up there on the X. The X. I'm assuming that's the X. Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
X.
that is the X.
Question. How much do you expect to spend on golf equipment in 2024? Crazy to see the results of this one.
How so? What do you think was crazy about it?
I thought it was low.
Really
I thought the
interesting.
higher percentage. So the choices out there that we put out there were $0 to $500, 500 to 1,000, 1,000 to 2,000, and 2,000 plus. Now I was pretty sure that it wasn't going to be 2,000 plus would be be
Outlier,
top one,
really.
the outlier.
Yeah.
I kind of thought 500 to 1,000 was going to be the number because based on the cost of equipment.
Yes, and
So if
people
you
did
get a new
mention that in the
driver, you're over
comments.
500. Like,
Oh
I mean,
God,
you
yeah,
know what I mean? Like,
you're basically $1,000.
so,
Yeah.
so I don't know how. So when I see 53%
So it's 0 to
of the
500.
people polled, 0 to 500. So, um, what are you buying for 0 to
Well,
500?
I,
Like,
I
I mean, I
guess,
don't know what you're buying for 500
yeah.
bucks, a putter maybe, and maybe people are investing in the short game.
I guess a couple things you could take out of this. One, either people are hanging on to their equipment, or two, they underestimate how much they actually spend, which could be happening well, or they expected their spouse or partner to see them clicking on the number and wanted to keep the number lower than it actually was, and didn't want to admit
Or
it.
they
So
underestimate how much stuff actually costs right now.
it's possible, but you're right. 53%, and then 18.8 for 500 to 1,000, 18.1 for 1,000 to 2,000, and only 10% over 2,000. So obviously, those people are maybe buying a new set of irons this year. But yeah, I'd say the buying cycles might have changed a little bit. It's interesting because
Very.
it always sounds like when you're talking to diehard golfers all the time that they're buying golf equipment nonstop, but maybe that's not quite the case.
Well, I mean, I just yeah, I don't know. I just look at the number and I think to myself, when I see that, I'm just thinking, what are you buying? Like,
Well, I guess some of them, I
what's
mean,
the plan? I mean, are you buying
yeah.
clothing? Well, it's equipment, not
Well, it's
clothing.
equipment,
So
yeah, and I was
so
specific. It was specific about that because I had a couple people reply like, "Oh, does this include golf balls or whatever?" And I'm like, "No,
so
it's actual
you're
equipment."
200 bucks for a wedge.
Yeah,
So I mean,
yeah.
you're buying a new wedge. I suppose you can 0 to 500 for. You can definitely 0 to 500 to get if you're getting a new putter.
Mm-hmm.
Most putters are under $500, and not everybody is buying the top of the line
Top one,
putter. They're
sure.
buying
Yeah,
sort of the one in the middle, which is going to be a couple hundred, about
sure.
half that, 250 bucks for a solid putter
Yeah.
from any of the companies. So that's where I look at that, and the first instinct I have is, okay, well, 0 to 500. What are you buying for 0 to $500? That's what your spend is going to be, because you're not buying a fairway wood, or not unless you're buying used, or you're buying it from
A direct to consumer, a lower price line, a sporting goods sort of
off the
line, or
rack
something like that.
kind
Yeah.
of retail
Well, I
deal.
guess
But
maybe that's who's out there. So
all right, well,
we'll find out. Anyways,
I'm curious if anybody's for those listening.
yeah. Well, I'll
Uh,
follow
you
I'll
know,
follow that up, and I'll actually have a look at some of the replies and stuff to that post,
yeah.
and
See
maybe,
see what the next one it would be is
yeah.
on the
What are you
heels of
buying?
this particular thing. What is your biggest purchase going to be this golf
Yeah, yeah,
season?
yeah,
You're going to
yeah,
buy a putter, or you're going to buy a new wedge, driver, irons, a new bag.
yeah.
Is a
We'll have a look
bag
at that.
considered equipment?
Not really.
I don't think so either. I think
Uh,
everybody buys a new bag every year.
do they?
I think I
I,
use a
th-
new bag. I think I take well.
I think I need a new
I
one.
put a new bag in play pretty much every year, but it's usually because one shows up.
Nice. I think I need a new one. I have a whitish one. It's not quite whitish anymore. So
I have some nice red ones.
good. Reds. I don't know about red for a golf bag. I don't know if
I have
I've ever had a
gray. I
red
have
golf bag.
gray with some blue on it.
Okay, we'll talk.
I think it might have a black one too.
We'll
All
talk.
right.
All right.
Uh,
Get to it.
I don't know when the break's going to happen, but it's not happening yet. So, let's get into this. This is big. I like it when we do this.
We have a lot of
Um,
questions, so we're not going to get to them all. Let's just say
no,
that.
so just some of them are gonna get pushed to another episode, or some of them
Yeah.
will be answered on Ask Flagstick. But
Yeah.
with this massive influx of questions that you asked for, um, we usually do one or two on Ask Flagstick over the
Yeah.
course of it. This is
Yeah.
a lot, so
Yeah.
we're just gonna pick and choose. I mean, maybe we'll go in
And I
order
think
for a
this is,
while,
yeah,
but
and I think this is a little bit different too because in particular, this was sort of directed to the both of us, where I'm usually doing Ask Flagstick. There was a few people that were specific about, hey, it's Jeff and Scott, so I'm going to ask them specifically. And I see one right off the top from our buddy Owen Rigg, That's his, the
Just
very
the
first
nature
one
of the
there.
way it's worded.
Exactly. So the
So
boys.
let's get into this. Let's get into this
Yeah.
because this should be a lot of fun. Question number one.
I'm always messing with this.
What are the boys most excited about for the 2024 season? What are the
Mm,
boys?
the
So
boys.
you know this is coming from somebody that knows us.
Yeah.
So what are the boys most excited about for the 2024 season? Scott, what are you the most excited about for the 2024 season?
Trying to stay healthy. That's the winter was a little difficult doing that, but I
Yeah.
think for me, definitely worked on a few things in my own golf game over the winter time. I'm looking forward to kind of getting out and testing those, maybe a couple of tournaments as well. So mostly for me, it's just seeing the work that I put in over the winter time and see how it's going to play out on the golf course. Don't have high expectations, but already just the 9 holes that I played. Oof, big 9 holes. Um, it was interesting to see kind of the results. So I'm kind of excited for that. What about you?
I'm most excited about seeing Owen Rigg from Northern Ontario contend at this year's Flagstick Open. That's what I'm most excited about. No, well, I am excited about that, but I am. I think for me, I'm excited about the prospect of playing more.
Hmm.
Um, I feel a little like, I mean, I've had some issues, some physical health issues that have inhibited me from really playing a lot of golf in the last couple of years. Um, I'm not over all of that yet, but I feel a little bit better, and I'm looking forward to maybe getting out and playing a little bit more golf than I have in the past. Um, I don't really have high expectations because I don't work on anything over the winter. I come with what I got, and I put my clothes on, I put my pants on one leg at a time, I put my golf shoes on, and I go to the first tee, and then and whatever happens, happens. I just hope I'm able to do that more often than I did last year. So I guess
Wear
that's what I
pants. Go, great. That's
wear
good to hear.
pants,
Thanks.
go to the
Thanks.
first tee.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
wearing pants would be nice. Okay. Um, have either of us played a wedge with more than 60 degrees of loft? Well, I can answer that question for you for myself, and the answer is no. In fact, I have gone away from playing a 60-degree wedge the last couple of years. Um, Basically, because of the loft of a lot of clubs nowadays, the gaps that I try to put with my wedges, playing the traditional 56 and 60-degree wedge just really doesn't work with the makeup of my set anymore. So now I play a 54 and a 58.
Mhm.
So, and I'm not saying that a lot of people are switching to that because that's not true. A lot of people still do play 60-degree wedges. It just depends on what else their set is made up of.
Yep.
I know my son Brandon plays, does not use a 60 doll. He hates it. He'd rather open up a 56. Just to kind of has never gotten comfortable with a 60-degree wedge. I know I was watching a thing the other day with Tiger Woods talking about, using a 60-degree wedge in a bunker, and says he doesn't do it. He'd rather open up a 56 because that's what he basically learned and is very consistent doing. So for me, no. And I've gone away from using a 60 altogether. Scott,
Yeah, I've
I know
used
you don't use a 60.
no, I've used a 58 for probably 15 years now.
Ram
Uh
tour grind. You had a 58 degree in the Ram tour
oh
grind.
yeah, yeah,
The
yeah, yeah. That
the
was way
ball shredder.
yeah, the ball shredder. I still have the 55 someplace in the basement. I played around with a 62, but just more for testing. But I've never played one in my bag. And I really found out, got to spend some time with one of the best wedge guys in the world a bunch of years ago. And
Me?
he's
We spend a lot of time together.
yeah, not you. Somebody with their last name starts with a V. And he recommended that 58 was just more versatile as far as what I was trying to do. Definitely played around with the bounces and stuff like that, but generally what you're going to find with most amateurs is they probably shouldn't be using more than that anyways, but yeah, not for me. How's that?
Okay. Okay.
All right.
Um, Let me think here. What do we want to go to? Um,
Got about 10 more minutes on the front end here, so we got a
yeah,
good
we got
bit.
lots of
So
time. We got
yeah.
lots of time. Let's see. Who is the best young Canadian golfer you've seen who did
Ooh.
not turn out to be a successful pro?
Ooh.
Huh.
That one's a deep one. Watched a lot of players over the years who
Now,
many
this could
who
be male or female.
oh yeah, it could be anyone, but I mean there's so many people, and this is not to disrespect them or anything like that, but
But I feel like that's what it's going to come across as. I want
mm,
to answer this question, and there's a bunch of names that I could throw out on this list that
it's
that
supposed to be the best number one. I've got one. I've got one right away. I'm gonna and a lot of people won't know who he is
and what's
anyway.
successful.
A successful pro.
Yeah, but what is they
That would be somebody who's probably making a living or made a living
currently
as a
or made a
professional,
living? I
or
guess
made or had a
should have made
career
a
of
living
some
and
kind.
didn't.
Yeah, probably more than anything.
Okay,
I'm gonna say Jesse Collinson, who was a young guy who,
interesting. Up in the TO area, right?
yeah, he won juvenile championship for Canada, junior championship the same year. Had some off the course issues. I'm not even sure what he's doing now. I haven't seen his name for ages, and he just sort of fell off the map. But I can remember watching him at an Ontario junior. I'm going to say it was at in the London area, maybe just ripping
Mm-hmm.
the golf course apart and thinking, wow, this is pretty good. But I've learned through the years, there's no such thing as a can't miss because there are too many factors: money, talent, other good players, personal problems. There's many things that can derail a player, but I would say Jesse's probably the most talented player that I saw off the top of my head. If I thought, I mean, we're talking 30 years of watching, golf, but he's the guy that comes to mind for me.
Mm,
Yeah, you got one or no?
my
You can
gosh,
push. You can push if you don't think.
I might you know. I mean, I'm more in focused in tune with the local talent that we had,
Right. Yeah.
and some of the junior golfers in particular that I followed coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, close to home, somebody that I really thought would be like, from a male golfer perspective, really thought would go on to be like a PGA Tour, not necessarily a superstar, but would win on the PGA Tour
Yeah.
was Matt McQuillan.
Mm.
I really thought that I know he had a stint where he did
Yeah,
well,
he did. He did. He
um,
played 2 years on the PGA
but
Tour.
I
So,
thought there was more.
yeah.
I thought I'd see more to him over the years just because of how good he was, as far as his amateur career and then going
Yeah.
on to pro and stuff. Another one, just from a female perspective, is a name and never, I don't know why, but Ashley Bickerton.
Yeah.
I thought that based on watching her as a junior golfer, we did a
Yep.
feature on her.
Had a
She was a,
cover. She went to the University of Washington.
yeah, like
Yeah.
I really thought that she was
Yeah.
destined. And
But I
but I
will.
think we get caught up in that a little bit. So
Yeah.
like when we talk about, you know, talent
Yeah.
and not going on to become a successful pro,
Yeah.
there's so many of them.
Yeah. And
And
I'll give you an update. Ashley has become a very successful person because she's a person I've followed up on. She ended up getting her PhD. She
so
is a very high level at what she does. And
probably still
yeah,
plays golf.
I don't know if she does or not, but golf was obviously a vehicle for her to start her education.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in that way, it's a success. Maybe she didn't become a successful pro, but she became a successful person because of golf. So I guess that's a different way to spin it.
All right. So there you go. There could be a whole bunch of people on
Oh
that
yeah.
list. Okay.
Yeah.
So we do get 6 minutes left here on the front nine. Pretty timing our front nine, just like golf.
Yeah, I like it.
Um, let's see. The Flagstick Open is coming up. So what's
Yep.
your favorite hole at Equinel?
Oh, you want me to go?
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I asked the question, you answer it.
Yeah. Boy, there's some fun ones there. Favorites, I would have to say for me, I enjoy 16, the par three, short hole, but very severe green. It's fun just because of the challenge that
16, eh?
the approach provides. Now, this is off the top of my head. Maybe if I thought deeper, I'd pick a different hole or whatever. But if the pin's on the left side, you definitely got to be very precise about where you hit your approach to so that it doesn't funnel off. There's a huge swale in the middle of the green.
Mm-hmm.
If the pin is on the right, it becomes really fun because you can land it almost anywhere is on the left side of that, and the ball will kind of roll down towards the hole. So it becomes sort of a,
But if you get stuck on the left side there, the ball that's an almost impossible putt to keep close to the hole.
Yeah, it is, but it's certainly one that you could probably score a hole in one fairly easy. I mean, alternative to that would be a hole like 6, short par 5.
The par 5, yeah.
Great opportunity if you smash a tee shot to hit an iron in and possibly make eagle before you have to head into 7, 8, 9, which, can steal your lunch.
For me, I would say the number 9 is one of my favorites. I love the tee shot. Mainly because I'm a left to right ball player, so I'm almost
never from the lake.
I'm almost never anywhere near the water. Yeah. I like after you hit the tee shot, I like that approach coming in, especially if it's a back left pin. Because you do have to come across the bunker, and the green's got a lot of movement to it. And I like that hole, and I'm with you also. Number 6 is it's an interesting par 5. I do like 16. I suck at 16, so it's not. I don't think I've ever been on the green in 16, at least not for any specific length of time. So more often than not, the water is my friendly neighborhood spot to hit the ball. So
it's definitely tight. You definitely have to hit a precise shot, especially the pins on that left side. So anyways.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a number of holes at Equinel, obviously, that are intriguing.
I mean, one for a lot of people, it's either a favorite or it's not. And a lot of people are just terrified by it because, they dump the ball in the pond or whatever. I mean, I like it because I'm standing there doing the starting and I'm watching people play across it. But, I hate to see them, fail in that as well.
I'll tell you about Equinel. I mean, we've got a couple minutes and then I think we'll take a break after this and come back. But so give us lots of time. But here's one of the things about Equinel that's very interesting to me. And one of the reasons why I love hosting the tournament there so much. But it would be great to finish the tournament on that Rito triangle.
Oh, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah, that would be because the carnage that could occur in the last 3 holes of the tournament. The problem is that number 9 is it's on the other side of the road, so it doesn't make for a very climactic finish around the final green. Number 2. One of the things about finishing a golf tournament, especially this tournament that we like, is the fact that anything from a double bogey to an eagle can happen on 18 at Equinel.
Yeah, there's more opportunities.
Yeah, so what happens is while 16, 17, and 18 might not be the stronger finishing trio at Equinel, there's certainly 18 is the strongest finish because it's you've got that amphitheater sort of surrounding the deck, the patio there. The way that the hole can finish as far as anything from an eagle could win it, double bogey could lose it,
I prefer an opportunity versus a punishment to end a golf course.
If this were like a U.S. Open or something like that, maybe you want 7, 8, 9 to be the finish. But, at the same time, 9 is not a terribly long par 4. If it was like 440 yards from the back tees and the same setup, then that would be
I'd rather see someone win than fail on the last hole. Right. And I think, and again, you can test people, but we're talking about amateur golf. It's amateur golf. That's different than professional golf at the highest level. So exactly.
So, I just wanted to say that about Equinel.
All right.
So, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to continue on with the mailbag, all the Q&As. We got tons of questions to get through. We want to get through as many as possible because there are some pretty cool answers that we can provide you. So stay with us. You are listening or watching the Flagstick podcast with Jeff Bonner and Scott McLeod. We will be right back.
Forgiveness isn't just a feeling. It's a number you can measure. The higher the number, the more stable and forgiving the driver. Introducing the all-new QI10 Max with the stability and forgiveness of 10K inertia, the most forgiving driver we've ever made. 10K forgiveness meets TaylorMade speed in the all-new QI10 Max. Only from TaylorMade.
Well, welcome back to the Flagstick podcast with Jeff Potter and Scott McLeod. We're going to get right back into this, into the mailbag, into the Q&A, if you will. So we're going to get our back nine going with the mailbag, presented this week by Celtic Golf Center, located only 20 minutes from Ottawa in Kempville. Celtic Golf Center is indoor golf at another level, featuring 5 state-of-the-art TrackMan simulators and 2 new Unicore simulators with GS Pro. Celtic Golf Center offers over 10,000 course options for you. Play rounds with friends, practice with full swing analysis, or play golf games. Visit CelticGolfCenter.com to learn more, to book tee times. And I'm guessing that based on the continued updates to the hours available, that Andy McWilliams is slowly winding down the indoor golf season.
Yeah.
But I would imagine that these slightly colder than normal temperatures and so on have kind of kept the doors open and kept people a little bit more hooked on indoor golf for a little bit longer. So maybe another couple weeks.
Yeah. Give him a
I don't even
buzz.
think he's in the country right now again.
He is not. He's traveling with his in-laws.
Beautiful.
Good for him. He's
Gotta
someplace warm.
He's someplace warm and enjoying himself.
Hopefully, we're warming up. Yes, we're getting some better temperatures.
Still a little bit of rain in the forecast, but it's warming up, which I can tolerate a little bit of moisture when it's warm out. I can't tolerate moisture when it's cold. This old 50-plus body doesn't like that kind of cold, wet crap anymore.
I don't think anyone does. So.
I used to love playing in the rain.
I don't mind rain. It's cold rain.
Better be warm when I'm playing in the rain.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to have a Scotland experience again.
Yeah.
10 holes. Can you imagine? 10 holes and done. Can you imagine me trying to go through that at my age, considering all of my...
I'm older than you, dude.
Doesn't matter. Your body is not as beat down as this. You're still hitting it over 300 off the tee. So don't talk to me about age. It's got jack all to do with it. All right.
A number. All right, let's get to some questions.
It's just a number. Okay, let's get back into the questions. More mailbag, more Q&A. Okay, right off the top, I like this one. What's the best golf advice someone has ever given you?
Oh, wow.
I can tell you right now. I'll give you the jokingly type answer. I don't even know what the word is. Joking type answer. The funny answer
in the morning.
The best golf advice someone ever gave me is hit right-handed.
Okay.
Because it changed my game forever.
Yeah,
I sucked,
so. Yeah.
Except for putting.
Yeah.
And a golf pro, a local golf pro by the name of Parker, used to play down at Bell Park Fairways in Kingston, saw me hit a ball and said, "Why don't you try my club?" And he had a tailor-made 10-degree burner driver.
Yeah.
Okay. And I hit his drive off number 8 and smoked it. Smoked it. And he's like, "You don't play left-handed." And I was playing left-handed at the time because that's the only clubs that I could use. That's the only clubs I had. So instead of renting clubs, I just used my brother's old set because that was the only ones kicking around. And they were lefties. So I switched to right-handed after that, went to Canadian Tire.
You could have been a lefty.
Yeah, I went to Canadian Tire. I was working there at the time. I bought myself a set of Campbell Ultra Precision Tour irons with maple laminated woods, and they were the old cast not cast. They were
there's like aluminum.
The aluminum alloy garbage.
Oh yeah.
And I think after 6 rounds of golf, there were more dents in it than a car in a demolition derby.
Yeah.
And eventually I did gravitate away from that to a better set, but those were my first clubs, my maple laminated Campbell Ultra Precision Tour clubs.
So best advice was to switch hands.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I mean, I had...
Well, you're too good. You don't take advice, is that?
No. Stop. I think the best bit of wisdom, and I don't even know where it came from, but I think it was somebody I played with back in my teen years when I was a little bit more volatile on the golf course. I think I remember him saying to me, "You're not good enough to get mad." Which which made me think a lot. And I know that's a line I've used on a few other people over the years.
Oh my God, that is priceless.
And
You're not good enough to
which, when you think about that, it's like, all right, what's your expectation? What's your standard? What's the head? Like, really, if you're not that good, getting mad doesn't really solve anything. So anyways, that was probably the best.
I mean, it's funny how the advice that sticks with
it
us the
sticks with
most
you. Yeah.
are the craziest anecdotal phrases.
Yeah,
I don't think I ever
advice or anything. Yeah.
I don't think I ever got a piece of golf advice from anybody in my life that had anything to do with
technical
aspects. Like
yeah.
You really should do this, it'll improve your putting.
Yeah.
The number of times I've taken every little piece of advice about my putting or my chipping or my golf swing, most of that stuff never works anyway. If someone just ad hocly gives it to you on the golf course at some point, you kind of have to work at it. But when it comes to the philosophical advice that's given, I mean, I always joke with people, and it's not my phrase, but I always joke with people about, they're 2 or 3 holes into a round of golf and they're getting mad and they're chucking clubs and slamming things around. And I'll turn and say to them, last I checked, there's nobody waiting on the 18th green with a big cardboard check for you.
Yeah.
So what's your problem? Like, seriously, like,
I guess that falls along that same sort of vein more than anything. So yeah,
right.
So I'd say that's for me, and that came from an old U.S. Navy guy that used to help out all the juniors at the course I was a member at when I was probably like 14, 15 years old.
Yeah. Parker had the coolest hat too. My brother Sean would remember Parker.
I'm gonna find out who this is.
The smallest little short little guy. He wasn't the head pro there. He was a pro. He was a pro. And he had a full set of TaylorMade irons. He had TaylorMade woods. He had this bucket or this sombrero kind of big hat on there. And a short little guy. And he just had the butter perfect little smooth swing. Just popped it out there 240 yards straight as an arrow every shot. He was about 65, 70 years old. Cool guy. Played golf with him all the time after that. Like every time I found him down there playing. My brother Sean would remember Parker.
All right.
Anyway, move on from that.
I'll have to look him up.
Parker. Recommendations for a 9-hole golf course to play in the Upper Ottawa Valley.
That's pretty specific.
Yeah, that's very specific. I first read this, I thought just 9-hole golf courses. I'd give you a host of a billion of them that I would jump on. Upper Ottawa Valley.
I know one that I want to play that I haven't played.
In the upper?
I'm not sure if that's a recommendation or not, if I haven't played it yet, but I've been there a few times. I want to play Island Brae.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing more intriguing. If you see some of the pictures of Dan Shields is a longtime pro in the region, and he's the owner there.
Yep.
Awesome guy. Yeah, I mean, I think I've only been in the parking lot once.
Yeah, I
think
wandered out on a couple
delivered
holes.
magazines one time, but then after that, we realized how much further it was from the highway to the golf course.
We just leave it at Pembroke Golf Club.
Yeah, we just left them at Pembroke, and then they took them across. So we only ever went in the parking lot once.
Yeah,
and but yeah, good call.
I was just thinking about it or whatever. I mean, there's a number of them that are up there, but I know that's one that's intriguing. Just the fact it's on an island.
Is there a number of them up there, Scott? Because I mean, there used to be a golf course near Pembroke called Fairways.
Okay, that one's
and
gone,
I think it's gone now. And I always wanted to try that one. It looked like a cool little.
Yeah, Roanoke is still there. It's 9 holes.
Okay, Roanoke is 9 holes.
I believe so.
Okay.
But anyways, that would be one I'd probably recommend. Yeah. I mean, I guess when you consider the Upper Ottawa Valley, I mean, 9. Yeah. So anyways, I'll go with that.
What's considered the Upper Ottawa Valley?
Well, I guess you got to look where the line is and then figure out with the 9-hole course.
I know what it is with respect to hockey, but
yeah, for sure. But I would say that one, Island Brae. Go check it out. On an island, basically in the Ottawa River between Quebec and Ontario. So,
and if I remember correctly, if you Google it and then maybe Google Earth it, I think there's a lot of elevation changes to that.
Yes, there is
terrain.
Actually.
Like there's a lot of elevation, rolling terrain out there. So
just some cool views and stuff like that. So,
wish we had more info for you on it, but we haven't played it. So
yeah, been there.
So Yeah, you know what? That's got to be on the list. That's got to be on the list for this year, Scott.
Yeah, I think so.
Now that we talk about it. Okay. Do you think another Canadian will win the RBC Canadian Open? My answer
this year.
This year. Okay. Okay.
That's different.
Yeah.
That's way different. It's
No.
a different question. I'm going to go
My answer
no.
is no. And that's not disrespecting Canadian golfers or their ability to play on home soil.
The odds.
Yeah, that's just kind of the math.
Yeah.
Really, Scottie Sheffler is probably going to win the Canadian Open.
If he's playing in it.
Isn't he? He's not an RBC guy, so he doesn't have to play in it, does he?
No.
No. Okay. Well, maybe he won't play. I hope he does.
Well, whatever. I mean, Rory's back, and he won there before. But you know, the odds. It's more just
Hamilton this year.
Yeah, it's just more an odds thing more than anything. It really is.
Yeah.
So
it's not a talent thing, people. It's not a disrespect to Canadians. It's basically there are only so many Canadians in every field,
right?
And the chances of a Canadian winning again are not high,
considering how long it took.
Now, who's playing the best right now that you would even give the best? Like, I don't even know that
Connors and Hadwin are leading the Olympic.
Yeah, I don't think Nick Taylor's not playing particularly great right now, but he's not terrible.
But you know, he's got to win. But yeah, I mean, there's a number of players that are playing well. So it's not to be dismissed, and they have experience with Ancaster, although not the redesign. So I wouldn't eliminate it for sure.
No.
But yeah, if I was betting, which is really what this amounts to, I wouldn't be betting for it. That's for sure.
Okay. Headed to BC this summer. Any fun courses I should try to play in the Vancouver area? I'm going to leave this one to you because aside from the numerous things that I've read, I've never been to BC. I've never been to Vancouver, and I really am not that familiar with all of the many golf courses, especially Whistler. But Vancouver area. That's not Whistler's not Vancouver.
No, it's 2 hours north. I lived 7 years in BC. Vancouver, if you want a fun golf course, I'm just going to give you one and we can move on to the next thing. Go play Stanley Park. Go play the par 3 course in Stanley Park. You know, it's cheap. It's just fun. It's super casual. You just need a wedge and a putter in an amazing setting. And you know, if you don't play that once and you're from BC, you definitely regret it. So
okay, and I will just point out since the topic is current, but you're headed to BC. Yeah. Vancouver area aside, you're headed to BC. There's 2 recently published articles on flagstick.com. One is about golf Vancouver Island. Talks about a lot of the options available to you there. And also the other one that we recently published is on Whistler. Whistler Golf. So if you're headed up to BC, headed out west, there's 2 articles on flagstick.com that you could check out as well. And there's a lot of links in there to other things you can check out with respect to vacationing or whatever. So
awesome.
Okay. Taking family on a camping trip to the south end of Nova Scotia this year, but have some time for a quick round. Any quick recommendations, course recommendations, even 9-hole? Okay, well, you know what? I'm defaulting.
No. You're actually going to know the one I'm going to talk about.
Well, I'm familiar, but I mean, let's be honest. Yeah. You're the Atlantic Canadian guru, so I'll leave the Nova Scotia PEI stuff to you, as well as the Vancouver, and I'll just focus on Ottawa.
White Point.
Go
play White Point. That's
don't do it in a hurricane.
Yeah, don't do it in a hurricane. Jeff and I have done that. An old Donald Ross course. Cool little peninsula, sticks out into the ocean. You crashing waves, got to play around a graveyard. Just a great old golf
around
course.
It.
Yeah, we got to play over it. Yeah, exactly.
It's like playing over the hotel 17th at St. Andrews. You just take that bad boy right across. Just the problem is if you don't make it all the way across, I strongly advise against going into the graveyard to get your ball and play it.
Yeah, if you don't make it over the graveyard, you're dead.
Okay. The best advice for playing a wet spring golf course other than using a push cart and rubber boots?
I think last week we talked about this.
I mean, I'll leave this one to the advice of the golf pro, in fact, and how to actually I've made my statement about it.
Yeah.
Choke
I would,
down,
yeah, I would say the biggest thing, yeah, besides
use a
like you
tee.
said, besides the rubber boots or black shoes, as I said to a couple of people this week who were out playing, and I saw them tweet and they said "R.I.P. our golf shoes," and I was like, oh no, and I won't hang them out to dry. They're sort of semi celebrities, so but it's like wear black shoes. Just stable. Just try to get as stable as possible with your footing. Strike is going to be really hard, and that's not something that's your fault. It's more the fact that the ground that you're swinging off of is generally moving. So try to be
Think
really stable.
about that, eh?
Yeah. Try to be as stable as possible in making your swings, making sure that your footing is sure, and really try to control the kind of the arc of your swing so that you kind of pick the ball clean. Don't worry about kind of taking divots or things like that. Just pick that ball as much as you can and try to be as stable as possible. And yeah, just be patient. You're
Uh,
you're gonna get some wacky stuff with some water on the face and low spin rates on chips and stuff like that. So just be patient.
I would say this: make sure that if you're playing a wet golf course, make sure you have a few towels in the bag so that you
Good
can
call.
dry off said face,
Yeah.
and also make sure you take advantage of the casual water rules. They're there. Most rules are there as much for your protection as they are for the protection of the field and the rest of the players around you.
Yep.
But there are rules that allow you to move the ball from.
Abnormal ground
Yeah, so if
conditions.
you're standing there hitting your ball and there's water coming up around your feet, then you're standing in what is considered casual water. So
Yeah,
you
it's called
do
abnormal ground conditions now. We don't even have casual water
it.
now.
Uh, I don't care.
So.
Casual. When you call it whatever. Quit changing stuff.
Uh,
Okay. Go to hot drink order when heading for golf. Well, that one's easy. It's a medium, 2 cream, 1 sugar from Tim Hortons. I don't even know why this question is on here. What are you buying? A hot chocolate? Come on, a cup of tea? You getting a tea before you're? I mean, I think maybe McWilliams does
maybe they
that.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway,
maybe they are. So
no disrespect to you, but it's the go-to is a medium, 2 cream, 1 sugar, or 2 milk, 1 sugar if you're cutting back on the cream.
I'll go if I'm making it home, some sort of dark roast done on a French press.
Oh, what
And
are you talking about?
and if I'm going to someplace else, I'll go Americano with a little cream and sugar. This is a weird question. Why are we talking about orders of our
Americano, blah
uh,
blah, sprinkles and cinnamon,
there's
latte,
none of
blah.
that. There's none of that.
Friggin' coffee, Nescafe instant in the cup. Let's
Oh
go.
God, you're driving me nuts with the instant crap.
Best training aid you have seen in the last
Ooh,
few years for a full swing. Oh God,
ooh,
I'm not even.
Jeff,
You know what? No, friggin' not even
you're not even
touching
touching this
this
one.
crap. Training
Um,
aids. Um, yeah,
Lots of stuff,
no.
lots of stuff out there for full swing. I would say the best
I
one.
think you should
I
get one of those swing jackets.
Oh God, there's so many that are
Put
out
the
there,
tubes on it and stuff.
and it's really specific as far as depending what you're working on. Just understand there's nothing that's going to be universal for everyone. And I would say the best one that I've seen, it's something I've invested in, but there's a consumer version of it that has the same hardware, just has reduced software, is something called Hack Motion, which basically just does measurements as far as wrist angles. And the key thing within it is just sort of trains you to kind of open and close the face relative to what you're doing with your wrists. Really important for golfers. They can also use it in for putting as well. Again, they make it really simple for the software. You don't have to get into graphs and all the stuff that coaches and stuff would do. But I would say that's something that's really key for people, and understanding as well. This is not about something that it's like this is the one way to do it, because there's lots of the wrist trainers and stuff out there that are basically going, here, do this, because it's got to match up with what you do with the rest of your swing. So yeah, Hack Motion for me.
Okay.
Jeffrey.
Here's what I have to say about the best training aid that I've seen in the last few years is the same training aid that I've seen in the 30 plus years that I've been in this business, in the almost 30 years that I've been doing this. A Golf Pro. Okay. All the stuff that you're buying. No disrespect,
No,
and
no.
I know as soon as you say no disrespect, you mean disrespect, but all the training aids that are out there, that's great. I'm all for the putting ones, like more so than anything else, like the putting training aids that you can use for helping you keep the putter square, all that stuff. I'm okay with a lot of that. But when it comes to the training aids for the angles of your hands and the swing and the shoulder turn and the spine angles and all that stuff, go and see a golf pro. Work with a golf pro who can give you things to work on the driving range or in your net at home or in your simulator at home that can help enhance the use of the training aid. Don't go buy a training aid and use the training aid thinking that replaces the proper instruction for golf pro, because you know what? You're wrong. It doesn't.
Training aid is not a coach,
No,
just
it's
as
an
much
aid.
as right. So
for
as
training.
I said, it's the same for people when they talk to me about TrackMan. TrackMan is a measurement device. It is not a coach. That's it. It's measures. So same thing with a training aid. Training aids will generally help you get a specific feel, but you have to know what feel that you have to chase in order to make that work. So bang on there, Jeff.
So that's my opinion on it. Okay.
I like that.
What place would you still like to travel to go to for golf? Yeah, this one is simple, easy. For me, it's Ireland. That is my number one at the top of the list. I know a lot of the courses that I want to play, but I don't even care. They're all going to be good. So just put me on a vacation. Tell me when I'm going. I'll meet you at the airport, and I'm out.
Been to Ireland. I need to spend more time in the south though. So yeah, maybe we need to do that. Australia for me. One place haven't gotten to yet. Love to play some of the Sandbelt golf courses. Yeah, I mean, if I think about it, there's probably some other spots, but that's the one that comes to mind kind of right away. But yeah, I'd like to spend some more time in the south of Ireland for sure.
So there you go.
Have not seen as much there. The north.
Didn't think about Australia, but Australia would be for me, as much as the climate would be better in Australia than Ireland.
Could be.
I think I would still put Australia after Ireland for me.
Okay.
It could be it's Ireland first, then Australia. But if someone were to just call me up tomorrow and say, I want to go to Australia for a week, and I would probably say, well, what about Ireland? I'd go to Australia. Okay. The 100, 150, 200-yard markers in the fairway, is that to the front of the green or to the middle of the green? Will that I'm going to say that completely varies, because most golf courses that's to the middle of the green, and sprinkler heads on a lot of golf courses will have the yardage on the sprinkler head is the big one is to the middle of the green, and they'll some of them will have a smaller yardage that's at the top and the back, front and the back of the sprinkler head that's to the back of the green, to the front of the green. But most of those yardages are to the middle of the green.
Yeah, exactly.
However, go buy yourself a rangefinder, and then you will know the yardage to the pin.
Exactly.
I don't use a rangefinder, but I eyeball it. That's how good I am. Or the fact that I don't give a crap. If you could play with 3 LPGA Tour players in a scramble, who would you take for your team?
Oh, I like that one.
Gosh,
man.
Well, first of all, if I got to play in a scramble with 3 LPGA Tour players, I don't really care which one it is. I defer. I defer to you for this one first. I know Brooke would be number one.
Yeah.
But the other two?
Yeah, I mean, I obviously take Brooke for one of them, just because obviously past history with her and knowing her for so long and stuff like that, and obviously a hell of a player. So that would be fun to go with. I'm gonna take a little bit of a different road. I think I would take Angel Yin from an entertainment standpoint, and plus she can bomb it. Did a podcast with her years ago, an interview, and boy, oh boy, she's hilarious. Obviously, I think a lot of people would default to somebody like Nelly, Korda, or whatever, but I think I'd slip Lydia Ko in there again. A peer of Brooke as far as age wise, somebody I've admired as far as how her play is, very methodical in the play. And I think it would be a nice balance with Brooke and then having Angel in there. And I think there'd be a bunch of laughs. So that'll be my 3. That give you enough time to come up with some more?
No. Okay. So right off the bat, Brooke, number one, never played golf with Brooke before. And I just would want to.
Sure.
Number 2, God, see, this is an interesting one because is it current LPGA or just LPGA?
Oh, I don't know. Like
Christina Kim would be
okay,
like
interesting.
I think
That would
she
be
would be a lot of fun to play golf with.
yeah, I
Like a
agree.
ton of fun.
Yeah.
And Kelly Keeney.
Wow. There's a
Well,
name.
because I mean, I
You had a
I had a
crush on
thing for
her.
Kelly Keeney for,
Oh, wow.
you know, I don't
Okay.
know. That was way so way back we're going way back. No. Yeah, I think Brooke Henderson, Christina Kim, and no, not Kelly Keeney. That was a joke. Um, I think I would want to play with Nelly Korda. And
Okay.
not I think that she seems a little uptight, but I don't think she is. You know what I mean? Like
I
I
don't think
don't
she
think
is.
she is, and I think that'd be a fun group. Not to mention, I think that particular group we'd have fun because of Christina Kim, and we'd win because of me, or Nelly Korda and Brooke Henderson.
Yeah, probably. I'll go with the latter.
I'd hit the long irons. I'm pretty sure, and
I'm not even going to
okay,
go that far.
all right,
Let's just leave the question where it's
okay.
at.
What was your first set of clubs, and
I think
when
you
did
just.
you start playing?
I think you already laid out your set of clubs.
My first set of clubs was the Campbell Ultra Precision 2, and I had a golf bag that had the individual holes in it.
The tubes?
The tubes, but it was
Were they the
connected.
tubes? Oh gosh.
Oh man, it
So
was.
like a Cooper bag or
I don't know
something?
what it was. I don't even know. I don't
Why?
even know what it
Oh,
was. It was terrible.
wow.
But my first set, and my putter was I think it was a Northwestern, and it's still in the basement.
Oh yeah, I've seen it
Remember
down
the
there.
one I used to
Yeah,
bend the
yeah,
neck on all the time to
yeah,
flatten it out? Yeah, it's
yeah.
still in the basement. I don't know what the model is, but it's still got the like a blue grip on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my first set.
First set of clubs for me. So I'm gonna have to think.
I don't even think I had a sandwich back then. I might have.
Oh, I didn't. I played a pitching wedge until I was like 16. I was trying to
My
think.
wedge game. That's why my wedge game is so
I know
good.
the first set. I can remember getting a set of oh yeah. I had a set that was it was used. I think my parents paid maybe $10 or something for it. They were 1971 Spalding Starflights, and it was like a seven
Remember the
piece.
golf ball, the Starflight
Oh
golf
yeah.
ball?
It was like a 7-piece set with like a crappy red bag. So maybe I did have a red bag. Um, but I think I gradually started adding kind of a mishmash of clubs. I can remember getting a passed down set of Spalding Augustas or something. I mean, all I know is I bought my first set of real irons when I was like 16 or 17, but I'd already played some pretty good golf by then. So I think it was a 71 Starflights. I was 10. I've written about it before. I played on sand greens and started playing in a field in Saskatchewan the one year that my dad was posted there. So yeah, first golf
Okay.
course was something else. Let's just
All
say
right.
that.
We got a few questions left, but I'm gonna skip a
Yep.
couple. I'm just gonna go to this one. What do you think the best golf course is in the current Canadian Open rotation?
Ooh.
Uh,
Ooh.
yeah, I haven't seen all of the courses in the Canadian Open rotation.
Yeah.
Um,
I know
so
mine.
I can't I can't be overly objective with this. However, I would say for me, it's Hamilton Country Club.
Yeah, that's number one for me. And you didn't even see it renovated. I renovated now.
Yeah, you saw it last year, right? Like,
Yeah,
was it last year?
yeah, in the fall I was up there. Um yeah, I would say I would say for sure
Yeah.
Hamilton, and especially with the renovation now, I think people are going to see how special it is and how much more special it is now that it has the redesign. So
Now there were some out west. I think
yeah, Shaughnessy, yeah,
Shaughnessy
solid.
hosted a
Yep,
Canadian Open, which would be another solid one.
yep.
I'm not a big fan necessarily of the ones that are in Ontario that are not Hamilton. Like I've never
Mm.
particularly thought Glen Abbey was a good.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's okay.
It does what it needs to do, but it's not the
But then
best golf
Angus
course.
Glen hosted, and Angus Glen's a fantastic golf course, but it was too short for a major championship. Like just not hard enough for them. I guess is maybe if they could make it harder, it'd be okay. But I just didn't think it was hard enough.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean,
Anyway,
St.
we'll
George,
see.
St.
George's would be another
St.
one.
George.
But see the trend?
Of course, yeah. The
It's
more
the older golf courses that
classic
can
style
handle,
architecture, for sure.
Hamilton
Yeah.
Country Club's not the longest golf course that they're going to play in as far as PGA Tour level courses go. But
Sure.
my gosh, that's a tough
and
golf course.
It'll be even tougher this year. So yeah, it would be Hamilton first and St. George's second.
Okay. So. Last question on the list.
Right.
We have skipped a few in there, so we'll bang a few of those into maybe an Ask Flagstick. But
sure.
How often should I look at buying a new set of irons? Oh, I'd say every year. I mean,
you can look at
kind of the worst question in the world to ask this guy. I mean, I didn't change my irons for forever, and then Don Irving, built from Artisan Golf, built me a set of myriads, and I love those things. They were great, and I used them for probably about 4 years.
Yeah.
And then I just last year switched to a different set of clubs, and then this year I switched. So
just to change the color,
to change it. Well, no, because it is a different head design. Like it is a very slightly. You can see a difference in the black edition or to the original ones that I have. So.
So I would say this one, the obvious one would be if their faces are starting to wear excessively.
Grooves,
so
but you can determine it.
No, you can't.
Just get in there with a grinder.
That doesn't work. The face gets too compressed, so you just can't do that. So you can replace those clubs. As far as it generally happens in the shorter clubs and stuff like that. I guess the difference is one, yes, if they're worn out as far as the faces or stuff, or two, when your game changes or you have different requirements for what you want the clubs to do. So it's not really a case of, so you could have those ones in there. They could be in your bag for 10 years. If they're fitted properly and you've invested in them, go ahead. You're going to trust those things. Right. But I really think, it's not a case of wearing out. Technology changes a little bit, but not an extreme amount in the irons. But if you have different requirements with your swing, your game, or your preferences, maybe it's a case you want to launch your longer irons higher, and maybe you want to change to a different design. Maybe you don't like the sound of the long irons that you've got with the a cavity that's in them and they're a little clicky or whatever. So don't put a number on it based on year. Put it on based on need more than anything. And I say need, not want.
Yeah.
That's a totally
well. I mean, the question is kind of how often should you look at buying a new set of irons? Yeah. Follow the direction that you just put out there. Yeah. How often will you buy a new set of irons?
That's a different story.
I mean, some people change them some people change them every couple of years because they think that they feel the newer technology that's out there better suits them or better suits their eye. Or they just have money and they want to spend the money on it, whatever. Yeah. I mean, there's a personal preference side to the answer to the question as well.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I mean, it's you don't change something necessarily because there's a new version of it.
No.
You change it because you feel something's changed in your own swing or your own game, and you want to make the change because of that. Now technology does dictate that some equipment is better than it was 5 years ago, but chances are there's not a ton that has changed from 1 year to the next year that warrants you needing to change your equipment. But
exactly. So thanks everyone for all those questions.
Yeah, big time.
That was great. We'll get to more of them, and you can follow Ask Flagstick on our social media as well, and you can submit questions that way, and we'll get to them.
There you go. Episode 80 in the books. A whole bag full of Q&A resolved, and we get to call it a day and move on to the next episode. So thanks to all our sponsors, Metcalf Golf Club, Celtic Golf Center, and our presenting sponsor, TaylorMade Golf. Every driver has an inertia number, and the higher the inertia number, the more forgiving the driver will be. Now, golf is about to discover the first ever driver that combines TaylorMade speed with the forgiveness of 10K inertia. The all-new QI10. More forgiveness means longer, straighter drives, even on off-center strikes. The days of missing the fairway are numbered. Get ready to experience your drives in 10K with the all-new QI10, only from TaylorMade. To learn more, visit taylormadegolf.ca. Well, we certainly hope that you have been enjoying this episode of the Flagstick Podcast. Be sure to follow us across all the social media networks, Instagram, X, Facebook, and subscribe on Spotify, Audible, Apple Podcasts, and
Apple Music, Podbeans.
Apple Music.
And more.
Because don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, like us, and click the notification bell. To make sure you never miss a single episode, get over to flagstick.com for more amazing golf content delivered every single day. And do subscribe to the Flagstick Digest newsletter. You won't be disappointed in having fresh content delivered to your inbox 3 days every week. That's about it.
There we go.
As always, we do appreciate you tuning in. But until next week, I am Jeff Botter.
I'm Scott McLeod.
Remember, always go for the stick.